How do police officers show up for a DUI trial? Attorney Brian Sloan says, when a case goes to trial, the prosecutor would have to prove their case beyond any reasonable doubts to leave the jury firmly convinced in the defendant's guilt. Their biggest piece of evidence in a DUI case would usually be the officer who performed the traffic stop. There might even be an additional officer who came to the scene in order to take over the DUI investigation. The defendant would have a constitutional right to confront and cross-examine the evidence and the witness against them. If for some reason the officer did not show up, then the defendant would be denied the ability to confront and cross-examine the witness against them. In this situation, there would be no one else who could bring in the testimony or information from those absent witnesses, because that would be considered as hearsay. The case might end up getting dismissed if there was not sufficient evidence to provide to the jury for them to determine whether or not the defendant was guilty. It would be extremely rare for police officers to not show up. It has probably been about 8 years since I had to handle a trial where the police officer did not show up. Some things might get lost in translation, but it is actually more common for something to literally happen to the police officer. The police officer might be hospitalized because they had been injured on the job or in their personal lives. They might be deceased, or they might have gotten themselves arrested because they were suspected of crimes, or they might even be charged with offenses, so they did not show up at the court. It would be possible for the police officer to not show up, but that would not be a reason I would recommend someone to go to trial and to just cross their fingers and hope that something happened to the officer. The client would not have to explain themselves, as long as they understood the risks involved in going to the trial. For a free phone consultation, contact Attorney Brian Sloan in Phoenix, Arizona at 480-245-5319 or visit him on the web at www.arizdui.com.